Okay, section 7-5. We are solving rational function. Okay, you have your notes. Please take good notes. I would highly recommend you take notes on a separate sheet of paper so you can spread out your work. All right, so number one, how are we going to solve this equation? 2 over x plus 8 equal to 5 over 2x minus 7. The first thing I need you to do, I need you to put parentheses around the quantity, and then I want you to go to the side and tell me what are the excluded values. Excluded values, these are value x cannot take on. For example, we cannot make the denominator equal to 0. That means x can never equal to negative 8. 2x minus 7, the second denominator, cannot equal to 0, which means x cannot equal to 7 over 2. Those two values, we call them excluded value. That means those are not even possible for x to equal to. So then, what does x equal to? Because we have a single ratio on the right, single ratio on the left, I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply to solve for x. That gives us 2 times 2x minus 7 is equal to 5 times x plus 8. All right, let's go ahead and distribute. This will give us 4x minus 14 equal 5x plus 40. All right, go ahead and solve for x, and then you subtract 4x from both sides. Then you subtract 40 from both sides. And then you will end up with, this cancels out, this is going to give us negative 54 is equal to positive x. This value, what x is equal to, for these two ratios to equal to each other. This is not an excluded value. That means this is a good answer, good solution. Number two, we have x divided by x plus 1 equal to negative 4 over x. Whenever you see a quantity, I need a parenthesis. I want you to go to this side and tell me what your excluded values. Excluded values, you want to make sure every denominator cannot equal to 0. So that means if x equal to 0, we want to exclude it. It's not a potential solution. X plus 1, the second denominator here, we want to make sure it doesn't equal to 0, which means x cannot equal negative 1. Those are the two values we want to exclude them. Those are not possible solution to this equation. So that means I'm going to go back over here and cross multiply. To cross multiply, x times x will give us x squared. And here I have negative 4 times x plus 1. I need you to distribute negative 4. And then I want everything on one side. It is a quadratic function. We're going to make it equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4x to both sides. Add the 4 equal to 0. This one is a perfect square. X plus 2 squared equal to 0. That means your solution should be x equal to negative 2. This is a good solution since it is not one of the excluded value. Okay, number 3. Number 3, I want you to look at it, and it's x plus 1 over x minus 3 equal x plus 2 over x minus 6. I would like you to put parentheses around all the quantities. I want you to go to the side and find your excluded values. Excluded values are values that we want to exclude them. They're not potential solution. These are the value that makes our denominator 0. So if you look at the first denominator, we don't want it to equal to 0. That means the value you want to exclude is positive 3. The second denominator is x minus 6. You want to make sure this doesn't equal to 0. The excluded value is 6. That means those are value we want to make sure x cannot equal to them. Those are excluded value. You put them on the side. I want to go ahead and cross multiply after you put the parentheses. This one will be x plus 1 times x minus 6 is equal to x plus 2 times x minus 3. We want to FOIL both sides, and when you FOIL both sides, this will be x squared minus 6x plus x is going to be a negative 5x minus 6. The same thing here, it's x squared minus x minus 6. If you subtract x squared from both sides, These cancels out. And now go ahead and add an x to both sides. Add 6 to both sides. And this is what we're going to end up with. Negative 4x. These cancels out. These cancels out. And these cancels out. You get 0. That means if you divide both sides by negative 4, x is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 is your solution to this equation. It's a good solution because it's not one of the excluded value. Okay, going on with number 4. Number 4, you have negative 2 divided by x minus 3 equal to x plus 9 over x plus 21. I want you to put parentheses everywhere you see quantities. The first thing we want to do is the excluded values. Excluded values are the values that makes our denominator equal to 0. The first denominator is x minus 3. Cannot equal to 0, meaning x cannot equal 3. Okay, now the second denominator, we want to make sure it doesn't equal to 0, meaning x cannot equal to negative 21. Those are the values we want to exclude. I want you to go ahead and cross multiply. You have x plus 9 times x minus 3 is equal negative 2 times x plus 21. Important that you put parentheses. This one will give you x squared minus 3x plus 9x will be 6x minus 27 equal to negative 2x minus 42. A quadratic equation, you gotta get everything on one side, make it equal to 0. Meaning you have to add 2x to both sides. You have to add 42 to both sides. And when you combine like term, these cancels out, you get your 0. And here you have x squared plus 8x plus 15 equal to 0. Hopefully that should factor. What's the product of 15? The sum of 8. It's x plus 5, x plus 3. In that case, that means your first solution x equal negative 5. The second solution x equal negative 3. Neither one of those solutions are excluded value. So those are good solutions. We're going to keep both of them. Okay, number 5. Number 5, you have 4 over 7 minus 1 over x is equal to 6. The first thing we want to do is find the excluded values. In this case right here, look at the first denominator is 7. 7 can never equal to 0, so we don't worry about it. The second denominator is x. We want to make sure x cannot equal to 0. The 6 is divided by 1. 1 can never be equal to 0. Next, what I want you to do is look for the common denominator. In this case, your common denominator is 7x. So it is 7x. What I want you to do is this. I want you to go ahead, multiply every term, top and bottom, by something that will make the denominator 7x. That means here I'm going to multiply top and bottom by x. Here I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 7. Here I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 7x. The idea is this. Once you have every single denominator 7x, look what you have to do. This one is 4x over 7x. This one will be 7 over 7x. This one will be 42x divided by 7x. At this point only, when you see all of these terms have the same common denominator, I need you to go ahead and cross out the denominator, cancel them out. Copy the numerator and solve for x. So 4x minus 7 equal 42x. I need you to go ahead and solve for x. That means we need to subtract 4, and that will give us negative 7 equal to 38x. And then x is equal to negative 7 over 38, and that's your solution as long as it is not one of the excluded value. In this case, this is your solution. Okay, continuing with number 6. Number 6, you have this problem. 3 divided by x plus 1, 4 divided by x plus 2, it's equal to 15 divided by x plus 2. Notice all the denominator I put them in parentheses. We want to make sure every one of those factors is prime. That means you cannot factor it anymore. Excluded value is first. Excluded value, we're going to go after those denominator and make sure they cannot equal to 0. That means for the first one, x plus 1 cannot equal to 0, x cannot equal -1. And then x plus 2 cannot equal to 0, x cannot equal -2. Those are your excluded value. Now what we want to do, we want to look for the common denominator. Common denominator is the product of x plus 1, x plus 2. So that means I need you to go after every one of those terms, multiply top and bottom by what's missing, the missing factor, so you have a common denominator. You have x plus 1 here, you have to multiply top and bottom by x plus 2. Here you have x plus 2, meaning multiply top and bottom by x plus 1. Here you have x plus 2, multiply top and bottom by x plus 1. In this particular case right here, I need you to pause for a second. And as long as you see it's the common denominator among all three terms on the right and the left of the equal sign, that's when you go ahead and cross those denominators. Copy the numerators and solve for x. The first numerator is 3x plus 6. The second numerator is 4x plus 4. And it's equal to 15x plus 15. I need you to go ahead and pause for a second and go ahead and solve for x. And then you will find that x is equal to -5/8. And since this is not an excluded value, it is your solution. Okay, continuing with number 7. Number 7, you have 12 divided by x plus 4. Minus 7 divided by x, it's equal to 22 divided by x squared plus 4x. The first thing we want to do is parentheses, like I showed you. We want to make sure all these factors are prime. Well, this x plus 4 is a prime, but this one here we have to factor it into x plus 4. Once you factor it, you can cross this out. The first thing we want to focus on is the excluded values. Excluded value, you go after the denominator and make sure they don't equal to 0. X plus 4 cannot equal to 0, meaning x cannot equal -4. X cannot equal to 0, and those are my excluded value. Next, I want you to determine what's your common denominator. Common denominator is going to be x times x plus 4. I want you to go after these three terms on the right and the left of the equal sign, multiply top and bottom by what's missing to make the denominator a common denominator. Here I have x plus 4, that means I'm going to multiply top and bottom by x. Here I have the x, I'm multiplying top and bottom by x plus 4. Here on the right hand side, I already have the common denominator. I don't need to multiply top and bottom by anything. So now I want you to pause for a second and verify that this denominator and this denominator and this denominator that exactly the same. Go ahead and cross them out. At this point, after you cross them out, copy your numerator. This is 12x. This -7x minus 28 equal to 22. Pause for a second and go ahead and solve for x. You will find that x is equal to 10. Once you look at x equal to 10, if it's not an excluded value, it becomes your solution.